What's up everyone, it's Aussie Poker here, and in this video I am going to basically go through the heads up drills, heads up sit and go drills in GTO Wizard. And if you're wondering how to access these from the homepage that we have here, well, basically you can just go to drills. I find by the way GTO is like that study drills and uploads are kind of the three things I sort of find most useful personally, but yeah, let's get into the drills. And if I just move from my drills to GTO Wizard drills, and then change the format to heads up sit and goes only, then yeah, we're gonna see like there's only a small number of drills, but still like a decent ones to go through with the limp pots for dry and wet boards, push fold for short stacked, big blind playing against a limp, a big blind fence against a raise. And then just a very generic one of all the way from pre-flop to river. Actually, I was sort of inspired to kind of create this video because one of my friends in one of my WhatsApp poker study groups wanted to kind of know a bit more about how the heads up sit and go training works in GTO Wizard. So that's kind of the inspiration. And yeah, if you're enjoying this video, do make sure to like and subscribe. So what I'll do is I'll just go through some of these drills so you can kind of see it for yourself. Not a particularly good like heads up player yet. I'd say better than the players in like the $25, sit and go, heads up, sit and goes on Ignition. But these players are just playing like very straightforward, so it's not really saying much. But I'm reasonably compared with like the $50 to $100 level players on there who are capable like finding some of the bluffs and this sort of thing. So I've clicked the drill, and yeah, we're just going to do it just so you can kind of see what it looks like if you're just practicing every single spot, to see like what kind of spots you're getting, what sort of stack sizes, this sort of thing. So you're getting like tested like your push fold charts, and I think from memory here, like you're sort of calling with like queen like 5 off, or like queen 4 off or better, queen 5 off or better, and like all the suited aces, kings, queens. But yeah, the low cards you really don't want to have short stacked. So that's a pretty clear fold. And also you get to see like also their range alone, like the king 9 off is like a jam at that stack depth, for example. Giving us a lot of short stack for some reason. I remember I was actually looking at like MTT, like short stack charts, like 8B blinds being like the lowest like level where you sort of might have a limping strategy. But this one, yeah, I do think is probably just a call. Turns out to be correct. If they raise, okay, they end up checking. This board hits our range very well. Like if you're able to bet like 0.2 or 0.4 big blinds, that'd be the best. But this, I think we're happy just to deny equity more or less. And they do end up folding their junk, so that works out. Yeah, I did really, really badly in these drills before, but this one I started a little bit better. So jack 3 off. Yeah, it's sort of thing, like when I play, I just simplify and just raise everything, which is not absolutely ideal. Like you are meant to limp some of these weaker hands. I think jack 3 off is meant to be in the limping range from memory. But yeah, I think that when you're starting out in heads up, sit and goes, like if you just decide to make your life easy and just raise or fold everything, I think you're not really giving up much EV by doing so. Like it's better to sort of execute like an imperfect strategy perfectly than try to use an absolutely perfect strategy. It's a lot more complex, than make a lot more human errors in the process is my philosophy. Yeah, I'm like studying GTO a lot more lately, but not, not like just playing pure GTO on my games course, but just giving it more as a baseline that I can sort of deviate from. Of course, this is a very awful flop for our range, so I think we're not really going to be bluffing it in general. Like, only if it checks on the turn, I think, would we probably bluff the river, is kind of my theory, but let's see if that turns out to be true. So we check, and okay, we do pick up some showdown value, so I think this is going to be a check call. Because you think about their checking range, it's going to be a lot of like king X, some like under pairs, maybe a 6, this sort of thing. Especially when the queen comes, like a checking the 6 free streets makes sense. Saying that we should have bet it, actually, but curious what size we should have used, where it's like we go 3 big blinds turn into a bluff, or I think it heads up you're often using like 200% pot from memory, but yeah, it's saying you should just like bet 1 and that's to get value from like the king X and maybe a sticky jack X calls or something. Because I guess all the draws have bricks, so it does kind of make sense. But okay, not the biggest EV loss, so to check versus bet is like not the worst mistake ever. But still a mistake nonetheless. King 10, I think, is just meant to be a jam here. King 10 off. I sort of get confused like with which like offsuit, however, the offsuit hands more jam or whether the suited hands more call or whether it's the other way around. Like that's something I should really review after this. But yeah, it is one pretty easy jam. Yeah, that works quite well. And that's why you sort of jam as well, because you're getting a lot of dominated king X that will call you here, which is quite nice. Yeah, this one, getting a lot of short stacked ones in this case. I mean, of course, you can modify the drill yourself and make it like 100 big blind stacks only if you want to practice your more deep stacked. But if you're practicing more for, let's say, to playing heads up like at the end of a big MTT, then yeah, sure, it makes sense. Practice a bit more of the, shorter stack because, at the end of a long tournament, you might just be, well, basically already very short stacked. So it's kind of important to practice that in a sense. But it depends on your purpose, really, what you're going to get more often. This one I probably should have just checked, yeah, because we have to fall lane if we get jammed on. Got a bit distracted there, but yeah, it is just a check at this spot. I guess because the EV is not the biggest difference I could mix, but you are losing a little by doing it. Like, it's more of like a mixing mistake than an actual mistake, let's say. But this one's pretty straightforward. I'll do one more of these. Like, I think you sort of get the idea of like what to expect with these. And I think, yeah, I think it's aces and kings are probably the hands that might go in the flighting range. And I think jacks might be too good of a hand to rip here. So it's probably one where we're just going to do a bigger sizing, like just a raise sizing. That was my theory, which turned out to be completely wrong, but we'll check it when the hand is over. Because we have raised, I think we are going to bet pretty small. Like, I think we lean more towards 1 because we block the flush draw is kind of my theory. But okay, we're already way out of GTO anyway, so it's like, playing whatever. This spot where I do sometimes check it actually in practice, but I'm not sure if I'm actually meant to. I think probably can just rip here. But yeah, we'll see what they have here, 9-8. But yeah, this one, yeah, we can see that, we should just raise the smaller size, not the biggest size. You have to admit, it's not something I have really, studied yet. It's something I really should study, honestly, like, what hands go into the small raise size, which go into big raise size, because what I've normally done in that spot, out of position, is I just kind of, just basically had only a limping or a jamming range and nothing in between, but we can see it does mean you lose a lot of EV, so it is actually kind of important to, know what you are doing in these short stack spots, and yeah, not just jam everything, because, yeah, that's going to leave a lot of money on the table. I'm going to end this one. Yeah, we're actually doing quite okay until those blunders near the end, so yeah, I'm sort of, my goal is, to try to get a GTO score of, 80% on average, in my training. I originally was trying to do that in a month, but that's probably a bit too big of a jump to go from, this sort of level of 30 to 80%, range of answers to, getting 80% consistently. But I do think it's something I could probably achieve, within a year or so with just continually training and, just solving my 100+ puzzles a day. Anyway, let's see some other examples of drills, and, you can see here that with the drills, you I think can make your own drills, and I think that looking at kind of the heads up sit and go drills, the ones I would probably add to this if you're really wanting to train heads up seriously. I definitely would add some for, well, the reverse, with big blind defense, but playing with the, from the small blind dealer position rather than big blind. I think you can actually set this where you can play, where you sort of can play from the reverse side as well. I think you can set that yourself. But yeah, I definitely would add them for 3-bet pots and 4-bet pots as well. That would be sort of the obvious ones to include, and that would give you, I think, a pretty good idea of, of the different situations. Of course, you could also take this idea from limp pots, but you could then divide it into, wet boards and dry boards and 3-bet pots and 4-bet pots, and kind of adjust it from there. Or let's say if you know that you're particularly weak on a particular setting, if you're particularly weak on paired boards or particularly weak on monotone boards, then yeah, of course you could set that within the, the settings as well. And kind of make your own drills, which, yeah, something I really should do. Probably a reason I haven't yet is, yeah, that I'm kind of focusing more on sit and goes and MTTs and heads up just for the moment. But, one really good thing about heads up is that actually you basically it's going to really improve your normal game, let's say, for MTTs, and it just gives you a much better understanding of poker, when you have much wider ranges and you're only dealing with one player as an opponent rather than, potentially multi-way plots or, dealing with a large number of ranges. So this one, big blind defense, yeah, that's the one that I want here. So let's start training a little bit and, you can see how it works from there. I'm probably not going to go through every single one of the drills. Like, I'll probably just go through like this and one more just to kind of give an idea rather than like covering every single thing. Um, Actually, something I just realized, yeah, is that this one is, I think, not including antes if I remember correctly. Yeah, it's 3 big blinds, 2-1. So is that so? Yeah, that's correct. So this is like non-antes, which is, yeah, definitely important to check in a sense. I think you can set up so it does include antes like for a tournament, but yeah, it depends what. That would be more in like the MTT section, I believe, where you would set up like the heads up, as it were. Um, don't remember the finer points of it, but yeah, it should be pretty easy to figure out. 6-3, I think, is just default here, yeah. So it's kind of slow roll the ball on that one a bit, but yeah, this one's kind of easy. And like I said, I think that, it's kind of good to modify these drills may include like some that are just short stacked or some that are just deep stacked. So, you're getting kind of really focused and targeted training in that respect. It's kind of like, with chess, when you're improving at chess, like one of the best ways to improve at chess is just to solve loads and loads of puzzles on a specific theme. I think this one is a free bet, but I'm not 100% sure. And I'm not sure which size I use either. But yeah, with chess, basically, I think that a nice thing about chess, like, yeah, you just improve a lot just by doing theme puzzles over and over and over again. Whereas, just doing that theme until you truly master it. And I really think with poker, yeah, you can definitely do something similar in theory. So yeah, I should have just called this one. I think it's like the lower suited kings are what sort of your free bet bluffs are. You're not really doing it so much with the offsuit kings, I think. I think it's more. Remember, I think, yeah, the offsuit aces tend to more like flatter raise, and the suited aces tend to more raise to tend to more free bet is what I recall. But anyway, this one just a fold. Let's get through a few more of them. Less talking, more solving. This one's a little close, but I think it's going to be a fold here. Oh, wow, it's called. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, it's like only 0.01 EV, so again, not massively exploitable if you fold these hands. Like if you don't back your post flop play in that sense out of position. But yeah, technically is a call. This one's an easy call, of course. And yeah, you can see like also short stack, yeah, a lot of very marginal hands kind of just getting in there. That's one thing that's different about heads up play. Because like if, in a way also like when you are practicing heads up, a nice thing about is that you're also really kind of honing your skill for like blind versus blind play as well. We misplayed this. I think we should just jam on the river, but on the pre-flop. Because the suited ace is like just a really good for that. Like you still have 32% equity against pocket kings, for instance. Now here we just really flop the world. So I think even though it's way off the GTO line, I feel like we would be betting here. But probably a very small size because, yeah, SPR is like 1.5 or so. And yeah, we've got a really strong draw where I think we just raise. And if they were to raise, we would even almost be able to free bet. This one, I think we can almost overbet, actually. Well, we can't overbet because it'll be, yeah, we don't have enough left, like no pot size. But I know one thing I've studied like in MTTs, and I don't know if it applies to heads up, but like when you have a pair plus a flush draw, those are often hands which will be like often check, king, and then if they bet just like raise jamming. So while it's probably not the right logic in heads up, like I think we should probably bet the ace. I'm going to try to apply the same logic here, realizing I'm not really getting feedback. Now this is just, I think, a value bet where I think we can probably get paid well by an 8 or a 9 here. If they have a 5, they have a 5, So yeah, and he ends up like bluff catching with this this high hand. But yeah, this one, yeah, we should just call here, like raising. Yeah, not really gonna be things, it turns out. I have to admit, like, I haven't really studied what to do against limps. I've only really studied what to do against races, but I notice on, like, Ignition that people do, like, limp quite a lot of hands. So, yeah, it is something I should really study. This one's just a call. Yeah, let's go to the next one. This one just call. Any ace will be a call there. About stack depth. And even some higher ones, you could say. So queen 6. I think queen 7... Trying to remember, like, I think queen 7 off or queen 5 off is meant to be free bet, but I think it's only like a very small number of queens, a pretty small percentage for the offsuit ones. So I think this one is just a call, which turns out to be correct. We've flopped quite a bit of equity. This is, I think, a pretty good candidate to check raise here. SPR is like 4, so yeah, it does mean we can probably like get it in like with both bluffs and with value. Of course, we just flop the joint, like only Jack 10 and 10-6 beats us here. So this, I think, a spot where against humans, maybe it's like if you overbet, they're only going to call you with like, 9 or better in most cases. But yeah, against solver, I think we just are overbetting here. Like we could go 6, we could go 8. Kind of like the 6 bet. Let's go with that. Turns out not to be the play though. So we're going to learn something from this, that's for sure. So it says we only bet 2, which I'm guessing is just targeting pairs in general. And then we kind of go big on various rivers, I guess is the logic. Like if there was an ace, you could like go really big and like they'll probably pay you off with ace X. But anyway, on to the next one. Let's do, how many have I solved so far? Kind of lost track of that. Okay, I've solved 10 so far. Maybe we just solve like 2 more and just leave it at that. This one's just a fold. But okay, last one for this particular drill. King 8's actually a little close, but I do think it is just a call in this spot. Yeah, it is. So, okay, yeah, and it's the thing, like with these like King X, like you have really good blockers. So when you have like the high card blocker, it just means to have a lot less value jams in their range, like strong King X, and you're live against nearly all their ace X as well, which is quite nice. So that's sort of the reason, yeah, why you kind of end up making those calls. Because, yeah, you're still like ahead of some of their hands and you're still live against like a lot of the hands that are slightly ahead of you as such. But yeah, I think we're going to stop the drill. And yeah, it turns out we got a slightly better score on this one. So already our practice is showing some benefit here. Still not at the level I want to be at 80% plus, but at least some sort of improvement. And kind of interesting how polar the answers were. Like we got 10 perfect or at least they were the best action. And yeah, 4 just outright wrong. But there was a pretty small margins. I can see like an average EV loss of like 0.01. Like that's very low compared to what I normally get. So, we'll take it. And yeah, let's see if there's like one more good one we can go through here. I mean, big blind versus limp, like that's a bit more specific than big blind defense because we saw how I think there were some. No, they weren't limp. I think they were all raises as such. And because they raised so small, for some reason my brain registered some of them as limps for some weird reason. But yeah, maybe we can do like limp pots. And let's do it with wet boards, actually. I feel like this will kind of be a fun one to go through. I wonder if it plays... It probably showed it there and I missed it. But yeah, it just plays straight from the flop. So we have like ace, 4, 3, 2-tone. We have like the back door and, these 2 cards. There's kind of one where I think we're meant to just bet range, I believe. But it's kind of interesting, like the ace is really good for our range, but the 4 and 3 is really good for their range in this spot. Anyway, we have the flush draws, straight draws, so I think that betting 1 is just fine, yeah, pretty standard. Now we pick up the flush draw as well, but he also gets another low card where like 7-5 got there, 5-2 is already there, but, if they have worked through like a lot of like 6-7, I mean 6-7 probably raises there to be fair, but... Yeah, I think with the flush draw, we are meant to just continue. I mean, it sucks if you bet and they just, like, jam on you with, like, I don't know, some, like, 6-8 of, of spades or something. But, it just is what it is. Just thinking what size we use. Because if you use a big size and they jam, it's just awful. But I'm leaning towards 3 for some reason. But you could also go 1.5, I guess. I don't really know like what sort of metrics I should use like to dictate my bet size and heads up, but my instinct was saying 3, but we're going to go 1.5, which yeah, turns out to be completely wrong. Do we just check on that one? So we mix check and we mix like, yeah, to bet 3 a bit more often. Damn, it's funny, I was so close to picking 3 and I just like doubted myself there. So that kind of sucked, but anyway. So yeah, let's go. I think this board, it's weird because like it's so coordinated, like it hits the defending range so well, but this is so yuck. I think with 7-6 though we are meant to bet this, but yeah, we're not really loving it. Like they could just raise so wide in that spot, but yeah, let's we do pick up a pair, so I do think this is meant to be a check. Okay, apparently not. We do have the 7 blockers, so the flush got there, but it would be interesting to turn his hand into a bluff and just raise here. Because I do think the 5 is a card like he is going to be bluffing quite a lot. Because it's quite good for his range. Yeah, let's turn it into a bluff and jam. Apparently not a thing. but does get him the fold. Okay, at 9-2 anyway, so. But yeah, it looks like we should just bet 2 in this spot. I have to admit, I don't really understand why. Like, I'm not sure what better hands are what worse hands are calling, and what better hands are folding. Like, it feels like it's just a bluff. But again, it's obviously something Yard Solver understands here, which is completely going over my head. And yeah, for this one, yeah, we should just call in general and take, our little showdown value. But it turns out, yeah, turning into a bluff is not like the worst thing in the world. Like, it's more a mixing mistake than an actual mistake, let's say. But anyway, let's and that's one thing also with GTO is I learned recently, like when it has the yellow eye, it means it's a mixing error. And if it's like the red one, then it means it's an actual mistake is how they do it. Yeah, whenever betting is just easy check folds. But when he checks, it's kind of weird. I mean, we have no equity here, so we're just going to check. And, if he checks again, we probably just have to barrel the river. But, yeah, this is just a fold every time. That was a relatively easy one. Turns out, yeah, he just had a monster hand the whole way. And was like, I mean, check back by itself was kind of interesting on the flop, like with ace, queen, like blocking the flush draw, blocking like some straight draws. Yeah, it's kind of a good example of a hand you can check where you're just like not that concerned about getting outdrawn in a sense, because you just block so many of the drawing hands. That's a concept like I kind of understand intellectually, but yeah, I don't always apply it with the right hands. This one's just going to be a check. Interesting that you can sometimes bet on that board, but yeah, the 4-liner, I don't know why, I just really hate 4-liners. Like, it's probably just some PTSD of just like getting 2 pair and just then getting it straight a million times. But yeah, this one I feel like is just going to be a check, especially when we block the flush. Because it just feels like, it's like what I say about these 4-to straight boards, I feel like there's quite underbluff spots. So that being said, I think if we check, the solver is going to bluff like a very wide range of hands here. I mean, you even could argue they're trying to value bet at ace-x. So I think the check call is going to be the best approach. They probably have a pair as well. Yeah, just checking down an 8. Because, yeah, neither side really likes this kind of board, honestly. The big blind has more 5s. The small blind has more 10s. So I do feel like that spot, like, maybe they can mix the... yeah, I was going to say, like, maybe they can mix, like, some rates, like, some bets different sizes, but... Because, like, say if they bet, like, 1.5, like, it looks like they're just, just value betting a 5 or a 10 there. But anyway, next one, yeah, let's see. Big blind, yeah, there's just a check. I think there's a pretty standard check raise, but he decides to check back. I mean, we do have the gut shot. We do have an overcard. And we are blocking the flush draw. Like, I think if we weren't blocking the flush draw, I think that makes you more inclined to fire on this sort of board. But the fact you're kind of blocking a lot of their bluffs makes me think maybe this is not the right hand to fire. Yeah, I was thinking, but okay, but it looks like it's a mixed strategy. And I mean, I think we just got a value bet a king here. Like, it'd be way too nitty to check. The question is, what sizing do we go for? So we go big, then we can get called by a lot of random 1 pair. But if we go small, we're a lot more likely to get called. I think 3 is sort of that right sweet spot. But yeah, apparently it's not a thing. He jams. I mean, we're not folding top pair here. But apparently it is a mix. Yeah, it is just turning a pair into a bluff. I mean, yeah, it turns out that we should bet 2 there. We should just bet pot and not bet 3. So that's the thing. Like, I sort of like find when I'm like solving, like I kind of have a rough idea of what I should do. Like, say if you gave me like 2 options, like check, bet 1, or like bet 2, or something like this, then yeah, I probably would pick bet 2 as such. But or like check, bet 2, bet 11, yeah, I'd bet 2. But if like a lot of choices, yeah, it kind of adds a complexity and yeah, it makes it a lot more likely you'll get to make a mistake in a way. Which also in a way makes it better training, I suppose, when you are sort of being challenged a bit more. Okay, I've only done 5 hands for this, but let's do 3 more hands and see how it goes. So, okay, apparently we donk lead. Oh, because it's 6-5-2, yeah, I had a brain fart there for a sec. Yeah, when the board is like really coordinated low cards, yeah, that's the one time when the big blind should be donking. I knew this, but I just completely forgot. But then we are going to raise, just a question of what sizing we should go for. Kind of like either 2.5 or like 4, kind of around this range. I think we can go fairly small because the board just favors us so well. And our checks will include some pretty strong cards. But yeah, it turns out I just don't really know anything at all about this spot. So we do get a 2 to fold, which is kind of funny. But yeah, it turns out that we should actually jam. Yeah, I didn't realize we were so short. Like yeah, my brain is completely fried here. But yeah, we should go 3 instead of 2.5 in this spot. 3, 5, or 9.5 are all good. And the rest, yeah, all kind of suck in comparison. Okay, so this one, yeah, we kind of have some pretty good draws, but I mean, it's a board where we're just going to bet range, so we're going to bet the smallest amount is kind of a principle, I know. When they bet 3, I mean, we've got a flush draw. I don't think we're never folding this. The question is whether we decide to free bet or not. But I think the 5-2, it hits their range quite well, so I think that a call is just fine. And we do get the nut flush. The board does pair. Because on paired boards, yeah, like, I mean, the question is, do we put this into a checking range to protect our checking range, or do we just go for the value right now? Because if he has like a 5 or 2, I don't think he's meant to fold here. Because it's also a lot less likely that we have an ace. So, lean towards check or bet very small. I'm actually going to go with check here, because I think we can still get the money in on the river. Turns out not to be as bad as I'd thought. I thought the 4 would be a good card for him to fire, honestly. It's just a question of sizing. Because we can go really polar here and just go 10. And we probably still get called by an ace. We get called by an ace, a 3. We might get called by a sticky 5 here. We might even get called by a king, but we are blocking. We're kind of blocking the king X hands. We want them to call our bluff here. So, but he did raise, like, I mean, a lot of his hands that raised kind of got there, like a lot of 3x, the 4. So I think we just go for it here. It's not the best jam candidate. Like, we'd prefer to have, like, I don't know, unblocking the king, like queen 10 or jack 10, I think would be a lot better. But I think we do just have to go for it all here. And kind of relief we got that one right. Yeah, he had, like, king. Actually, I'm very impressed they folded king 3. Like, that is absolutely insane fold, honestly. But yeah, that's why the solvers are, like, the, you know, much better than any human player is probably ever going to be. The fact that they're finding, like, 36% fold freaks of a straight is like completely nuts. But yeah, let's do, yeah, I think I said 3 more and that was 1, so we've got 2 more left. Big blind checks as they would do with range. This is a rather coordinated board, so I think we're actually meant to bet kind of big on this one. The question is, like, do we go like 1.5 or do we go 3? It's something I haven't really studied and probably should have studied. Because if I could pick any size, I'd probably go like 1.6 big blinds, but and then 1.5 is kind of closest to that, so I guess we go with this. Yeah, this is a spot I really need to study more. I mean, min raise, we're not folding over cards in the back door. Yeah, now we have like a gut shot. Okay, this is just a absolutely yuck spot. I mean, in a way, we kind of want him to have the queen jack, because that's kind of a logical bluff, but problem is, like, even of some of the bluffs, like some, you know, spade draws are still beating us, so I think we just have to fold. But yeah, not happy with my play in that one. Wow, just has a straight there. That's sick. So we just check on this board. Okay, that was kind of a surprise to me. But yeah, I guess given it hits the big blinds range a lot better than ours, I suppose that's the logic, that they have like at least as good, if not better, equity than us. If it was not recording the video, I would study this spot, but I'll do it after the video concludes. Yeah, let's make this the last one. So we have a board that's kind of good for our range. Not so great for our hand outside the gutter, but I mean, we do have an open-ender actually here, so yeah, that works. But the queen is maybe a bit of a dirty out, like we still lose to a king, but yeah, I think based on what we saw before, like, but the other was like kind of medium cards, which I have a lot of. Like, when you have 2 cards 9 or higher, if you're in like button versus big blind, that would hit the big blinds range. Well, there's like if it's an MTT, and you would actually check back this board at some frequency. But with this hand, I feel like this is just a very good candidate just to go for it. Like, it just feels like a natural hand to bet, you know. Now, we do have the idiot end of the open-ender. That's the only thing. You know what? I'm just going to check it. This is like the worst card in the deck, I think, for us. Because we lose 27, we lose 20 queen, we lose 20 pair. Like, I'm not even sure if I meant to call with an 8 in this spot. Because we only beat total bluffs. Like, king X is sort of a logical bluff. Ace, yeah, like maybe some ace X here, but it's really hard to say. I think ace X would probably check, king X would fire, like would random low cards fire? Probably not. The thing, like, we're only being a king here. We're losing to pretty much everything else, I think, with this. So I think we're going to actually fold here. Which turns out to actually be a good decision. There you go. Yeah, Queen 7 is... We're getting absolutely murdered on that board. So, yeah, basically just check. Looks like, yeah, we played it fine here. Yeah, I mean, if we bet here, we're just betting as a bluff. So, yeah, that's the way it goes. Yeah, let's end that session. Yeah, we didn't do that well. Like, I think that hand we had earlier, yeah, with the miss, like, bet shooting wrong bet size really cost us very severely on this one, actually. But, okay, still, like, we got some training in, you know, the scores I think we got were, like, 67%, 53, and 57%. So, yeah, pretty, like, standard for, like, my overall performance in these sort of drills, you could say. But I used to actually a lot worse than the heads-up one, so, yeah, nice, I'm actually getting a little bit better at them. But yeah, that's basically how the heads-up drills work, and, you know, I think that, like I was saying, one of the best ways really to improve at anything, really, at any skill, is just to kind of take a small, like, segment of it that's something that's going to be very practical, like something you can just sort of apply, like, over and over and over in your games, or something that is, you know, going to make a really big difference to your results in your games as such. And if you just keep practicing that, like, drilling it until you kind of can't get it wrong, well, if you do that with enough, the different key skill sets, just going to be like a very, very strong player with no major weaknesses. So yeah, that's how the heads up sit and go drills work on GTO Wizard. I might like to let you know in the comments below, like, what was the biggest, like, insight or takeaway that you got from this video. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.